Welcome. This is For Better and Worth,
the podcast where we don't believe you have to sacrifice your relationship while you grow and build your net worth.
We are your hosts.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Ericka Young, and we're so glad you're joining us today.
All right, y'all, let's get into it. Hello, people. So glad to be back with you, hun, just to start the conversation again.
Yes, I'm glad to be here too. So, what's been going on, babe?
You know, we are entering that time of year where it's just festive. You know, everybody just feels good.
Yeah, it's the holidays.
It's the holidays. You know, Christmas is coming. You know, my birthday is coming.
Hey.
But you know, people are gonna be off work, vacation time. So I'm just happy at this time of year usually because I get time off from work and I'm just able to just do what I want to do.
So I have a intro question for you, baby.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Yep. Are we going to put up lights outside our house for the holidays?
Nope. We will not be.
Say more. Why not?
Because here is the reason, people, why we are not. I'm not Scrooge. I am very much so, you know, ho, ho, ho.
Are you serious?
I think during the holidays, I'm such a jovial, giving person at that time. But when it comes to these lights, people, I don't have any help. Yeah, see, she don't have no response to that. They always talking about, Dad, we gonna do this, or Babe, we gonna do that. I'm like, are you guys gonna help? And they're like, well, hold on now, we ain't talking about helping. It's like, it's a lot of work. Like Christmas, this ain't even where we supposed to be going.
No, but hey, I'm curious because here's my question. If I helped you, would you put lights up outside the house?
From start to finish?
Oh God. See, listen, all these little, you know, caveats to your help. You know what I'm saying? We got to be specific about how long and everything.
I love this question now because yeah, it's when all that work come into play, you like, well, hold on. I don't know if I want to be outside.
You know, I'll be very honest. I am not ashamed to say it. I am a princess when it comes to anything in terms of work outside the house.
Look, people, you heard it here first.
Now, I keep a great home on the inside, okay? And even our little back porch, okay? But I don't have a green thumb. I am not interested in shrubbery and you know, doing the lawn and mowing the lawn. All of that stuff. Nah, you can keep it. I'm not good at it. When we driving down the street and you like, oh, look at her out there doing the yard. The first thing I say, what is the first thing I say, babe?
Good for her.
That's exactly right. Good for her. That's awesome, sis.
Look, I don't typically expect you all to help in that regard because I know I've asked for help before, and I've sent, when the girls were here, I've sent all of you all back in the house. Like, no, I don't need y'all
because
help.
It's harder for you. So I don't even know why you ask for our help.
Sometimes I'm just like, look, no, your help is a deterrent. So no, go away.
It makes your work harder. So you might as well be out there by yourself. I mean, we appreciate it. It looks great. Our yard looks awesome, and so would some lights.
Look, all the fellas out there that's listening, sometimes you understand. You understand that sometimes, okay, I just need to be out here by myself some days. A house full of women, it's like that. No, yeah, I don't need help. But
and Bear comes out there to help you.
He doesn't have opposable thumb, so he is of no help.
So no lights done by you. Would you pay someone to do lights?
You know I'm frugal, so
yep, that's not something you want to pay for.
That's not something I want to pay for. And if lights going up, then we gonna have to do them ourselves.
So wait, you back up. You said I'm frugal. Nope, that is not true, Christopher.
I am frugal.
You have your things that you are willing to spend money on, and your things that you are not willing to spend money on.
That hence frugality.
No, because there are things you will buy that indicate no frugality at all.
Isn't that the way life is supposed to work? Some things you say yes to, and some things you say no to. Listen to this lesson I'm about to give. That's a
real good point.
That is how life should work. You say no. Let me finish. You say no to some things, so you can say yes to other things.
Now that's a good point. And sometimes I have viewed frugality as frugal in most things, but you pick and choose. You like listen, I have seen you and we're out places and you will say, I ain't spending money on that. And I'm like, it's $20. It's this is $30. This ain't no big deal. Why are you tripping? But he don't want to spend money on it. But he will find this. Let's talk about your firearms or something, and you will spend the money there now.
Wait. Let's not bring that on the podcast.
Oh, we're not gonna go there. We have boundaries. We got things we're not gonna talk about. Oh my goodness. Okay, I see how it is. But no,
no, don't move on yet because I had to look up frugal for the people.
Oh Lord, he got a definition.
According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, the definition of frugal is characterized by or reflecting economy in the use of resources. Hello, I am frugal.
Not always. Let's be clear. You, like I say, you pick and choose when you want to economize. Okay. You take advantage of certain things that you like when you want to spend money, you can do a doggone good job. So let's be clear. So anyway, so the young household may not be decked out in lights this season, but a lot of people get into the holidays. There's a lot of holidays. It's not just Christmas. We talking Hanukkah. We talking Kwanzaa. We're talking New Year's, Christmas, all the things, right? And so, this is a really exciting, fun, nostalgic time of year. And,
we'll see what the next week or two brings when it comes to the lights.
Okay. Fair enough.
As long as there's no snow and there's no risk of personal injury to put lights up, we can consider it. As long as I have a assistant.
Okay. So on
no
that
assistant, no lights.
On that note, moving on.
This isn't even our topic for
No,
today.
It's not. But it's holiday related. So I have a question for you, honey. So what were some traditions coming up around this season that you and your mom and siblings, partook in on a routine basis?
I think growing up, the thing I remember the most is like every family. We wake up and everybody's excited to, open their gifts. And my mom did her very best to provide us, a good Christmas and, gift giving and growing up, some people who were listening, they may remember we used to get those Goodfellow boxes from school, and that you only got a Goodfellow box if you were, economically depressed, if you were of a certain status. But those Goodfellow boxes used to be good. I used to look forward to opening those boxes.
So what was in it?
I mean, they gave you some of the necessities, socks and underwear, which no kid wants to get, but they gave you like a toy and they gave you candy, and it was always some cool stuff because they put thought into it. And that was just, an additional add-on, but I knew that we were going to have those boxes. And my mom, she always did things to make sure we had a good Christmas. So we would have gifts to open and things to do. But the thing that stands out to me the most, which I may have even said this before, was we used to always go to my grandmother's house and my whole family would come and we would have, Christmas dinner, and she had a wood burning fireplace. We would make fires and we would just play games. And I think we talked about this on the Thanksgiving episode, but it was just like, that was the time I remember the most, coming together with my family. And it wasn't all about the gifts because, I remember one year I got a re-gift, one of my aunt gave me one of my cousin's old toys. I was like, what in the world I don't want this. And so it is funny because it was a clock. It was an Oscar the Grouch clock.
Oh, wow. And
I actually kept it and took it home, and I would let it go off, and I kept a shoe near my bed and I would throw it at it. And that's how I used it.
Oh my gosh, that's a mess, actually. That's crazy.
But what are those are some messed up traditions, but I mean those are good traditions with my family, but the gift that was just me acting out.
It was memorable.
Right.
It was memorable. It did a job.
Yes, yes.
It did a job.
But what about you all? What are some traditions that you remember?
Honestly, what's interesting, I would alternate years between my parents and or whose home I would actually wake up on. But I always spend Christmas Eve with mom because that's her birthday. So the holidays are special all on their own, but mom's birthday is Christmas Eve. And so that would always be a moment. But I remember like as I was coming up, we did the whole Santa thing, but I remember when we were in our apartment after my parents' divorce, and on her birthday, even after we would, celebrate her in some way, if I was with her, she was scrambling. I remember one time I woke up at midnight and I saw a
You saw elves
well,
running through the apartment.
yeah, I saw their shadow. Okay. And not because I was being nosy and I didn't need to be nosy. And I heard the rustling and I was too afraid, okay, to go out there. But and to see what they were up
She
to.
was out there wrapping those
She sure
gifts.
was. My mother was literally the last minute every year. I do not remember a year when mom was not last minute. She would spend half of her birthday doing that stuff, especially if we were there and we were going to be waking up with her. And so I do remember as I was getting older and getting away from the whole Santa thing that I knew mom was scrambling. And so anyway, but that was a thing I do remember. But you know what's so interesting? My father really tried as well to make Christmas special. There was one year in particular where we woke up at his house, my sister and I, and dad gave us this vintage antique. It was a stage for a play, and it had puppets. It literally was a puppet stage. Now, some people might think this is crazy, but it was something that he had as a child. And I thought, oh my gosh, my father gave me one of his toys, and it was so cool. My sister and I played with that thing all day.
That's cool.
It was like the best gift ever, honestly. And it had the whole backdrop, and it was just so neat, and it had the actual puppets that had the string at the top. It was just so cool. We were fascinated because it wasn't like anything else that we had seen, and it kept us going for so long. It was so cool. But I feel like those are the kinds of memories that we try and make with our kids today, like having that either that one special thing or those one special moments. um One of our traditions now is the pajamas that you open, on Christmas Eve so that you can wear them into the morning, and
That's our family tradition now.
it is, it
So we
is.
and you were trying to not buy pajamas one year. I was like, girl, this is
I
we got
know.
kids that are in their 20s now. We're still like
I
looking for
know. I'm
pajamas.
like, can I just be honest? Sometimes you get tired of a tradition. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know if this one is going away.
Okay.
'Cause
All right. So I'm gonna have to go
I
buy
think
some.
everybody in America has this tradition
I
now.
know. I know. One of our traditions that we had for 20 years was sending out Christmas cards with our family on it.
Ooh,
It was
the
an ordeal.
people are upset.
Oh my gosh. Our cousin, she texts us, "Where is my young family
Right.
photo?"
People are upset that we have not sent Christmas cards these last few years.
Yeah.
And they are like, what is going on with you all?
When our daughters went to college, I mean, honestly, when the youngest went to college, we were like, I'm done with this. I don't necessarily have to do now. One tradition that will remain. What's the tradition that's going to remain, honey, for the rest of our lives?
7 Up pound cake.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
You didn't even have to cue me for that one. I already knew that's going nowhere.
Yes.
And that's exactly why over the Christmas holiday, I will still be hitting the gym.
That's right, because we're going to eat that pound cake.
Right.
I remember when our girls were like young, we were in Arizona. They were like 3 and 7. And we made this pound cake. It is the only time of year that we make it. And we put 3 candles on it. And we sang happy birthday to Jesus. This is the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. That's what the candles were. And
And then we smashed.
Then we smashed. And we listen, now this cake will go down in history because we had some friends over for Christmas one year. And I promise my girlfriend, she ate 8 pieces of cake.
Look, I was about to start putting her on rations. Like, hold on now. You need to slow down. This cake got to last while we're off.
She ate about a third of the cake, no joke. And
I think she ate more than that because those were not small pieces.
No, she kept eating. We were like,
back.
"Where is it going?" That's just how good this
she's
cake
a little.
is.
She was little,
Yeah,
little person, but
right.
But let's get into talking about. We're talking about the holidays and reminiscing about traditions. But as you guys are listening, how do you go about giving gifts to your spouse? Because we believe in having one account, and I know not everybody does that, so it's easier for some to do it because they have separate accounts and they can give without each other knowing. And that's not really our story because we have one joint checking account, and so if you start sending purchases through that account, because we're both like overly active in the account, looking at it like, oh, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be, hey, did you spend such and such? Did you do? Then you like, calm down. Surprise. Surprise really ruined. But before we even get into it, I got to share this. I ain't say this to you. I was in the car, I was riding, I was listening to the radio, and I heard them talk about on one of the radio shows I was listening to, how they saw, like, I don't know if it was on Instagram or TikTok, but they saw a post about a woman who was like, hey, I got to start eating, ramen because I got to save up to buy my bae a Christmas gift. He want those Amiri jeans. And so I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Lord have mercy.
She's going to start eating ramen because she needs to save up to buy their spouse a pair of jeans that are name brand. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So it goes into the gift giving topic, but what do you think about that?
That's crazy. I mean, but people do a lot of stuff. People will figure out ways to make room to give gifts. That is for sure. People will pause on car payments. They will clearly not eat or reduce what they're eating. They will move payments. They will use credit cards. They will, honestly move heaven and earth to actually give a gift. And you're right. I mean, we've always had the same account. And so I know that there have been times when you have said to me, don't look at the account. You have said, pause on that for a couple days. Don't look at the account. And so, that can be a little bit of a challenge sometimes. And so I think one of the things I definitely want to talk about is how do you sort of keep the surprise element or the intrigue or even keep this small secret from a partner in order to give. We're not necessarily talking about, giving to other people, because that's something that you really do need to discuss between you and all that. But in terms of, giving gifts to each other, be it for the holidays or anything else, is something to think about.
There are so many places I want to go with this topic because even just going back to that, eating ramen to buy a gift, that we could spend some time on that because those jeans on the cheap side are $750.
That's crazy.
On the high side, they could be, a couple $1,000s for a pair of jeans.
So I'm gonna tell you right now, baby, you ain't getting none of that.
I don't even want that. So don't worry. If I'm spending $100, $200 on jeans, I feel like I'm doing a lot. $750 is just not. That is not where I'm going to lay, my wealth at.
Yeah, absolutely.
My mind may change about that, but there's so many places to go. But I just think like the amount is one thing, but the surprise, gifts should be a surprise. And like whenever I have worked to give you gifts, I didn't want you to know what it was because, we have defined roles and we've fallen into those roles, and will balance the account a lot of the time. So I know you're going to see purchases that come through. And so here's my tip that I will tell people. I am probably one of the few people out there that still uses cash and operates with cash. I keep my own little, miscellaneous fund, slush fund to just, spend on whatever it is I want. And, sometimes I just save it up and I'll decide I want something, then boom, I'll go to my slush fund. And sometimes I'll just take my slush fund money and just go and buy gifts with it and just replenish it later. That way I can keep the mystery there and you won't know because I can just buy a gift, go pay cash for it. And I've just tried to do that because I want the surprise. It's the element of surprise. And it just depends on the size of the gift. And you and I, we've made the decision that if we're doing really big purchases, those probably won't be surprises because we're going to have a conversation about it before we go off and do it. I'm not going to be like the TV commercials, the Lexus or the BMW commercials, where you go outside and it's a brand new car with the bow on it. It's like, no, that's not how we move.
Listen, I think that is wild now. I mean, every year we see these commercials where these big bows turn up on this car. And I'm like, there ain't no way somebody is going to make a decision. My spouse
absolutely
is going to make a decision of that magnitude.
I'd be like, where you get this money from?
Exactly.
I know it didn't come out our account. Did you pay cash for this? Where you been holding all this cash?
Right.
This is going to open up a whole litany of questions
that would potentially lead to an argument.
Right. I'm like, girl, you done open Pandora's box.
Yes.
How'd you get $70,000? Where you get all this money? Or whatever it is that, because that's just not how we operate.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that, we've done too is to have like a gift account or just a separate account. You have your cash money, but I've also said to people it's fine to have, an account where your partner is not a looky-loo on it. You know what I mean? And so that could just be miscellaneous money on a regular basis every month and that kind of thing. I think a lot of people end up using their credit cards. I think the challenge is just to make certain that there aren't secrets. I think that's the biggest thing is, being able to surprise your partner with something, but not holding a secret. So for instance, a secret could be, racking up, dollars that need to be paid on a credit card. And then your partner doesn't know that you have done all that, or you have, funds in this other account that you're using for things, and you're intentionally trying to hide your spending behavior. And I think that's the challenge, is to balance, I want to surprise my partner, but I don't want to upend our financial future or some of the decisions that we're making while doing that. And so I think that's the delicate balance that needs to be had for sure.
You don't want January 15th to come and that credit card bill show up. You like, uh-oh, I got to pay the piper now because I didn't plan on spending this. And I go back to the beginning. Like, you got to, first of all, you got to plan, you got to save, you have to set a limitation. Because though I feel, whole jolly and, giving, I still have my limits.
Right. And I think partners need to talk about those limits, right? So we typically will have spending limits on how much we will do for one another. And I think that is a good healthy boundary so that you stay on budget.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that you don't actually get away from the goals and things that you have, especially during the season.
That can flex a little bit. You can go a little bit over, a little under, whatever it is. But I think we have kind of a general rule of thumb that we'll operate by. Because, I'm all about giving, good gifts because, they say it's more blessed to give than to receive. And there's nothing like, giving someone a good gift. But I think people just go overboard. And that's where I hope in this season people can continue to set some limits and some boundaries. Because let's be honest, if people are posting that, I think this woman might have been an exception, talking about she was going to eat ramen to buy her bae these jeans. I don't think that's what most people are doing. And if that's what you got to do, you got to reduce to eating ramen to buy this, in my mind, exceptional gift. You probably shouldn't be buying that gift to
exactly
begin with because it leads me down a series of questions. So, are you paying cash for that gift, or So what? How did you decide on this? You getting should that person even want a pair of $2,000 jeans, or are they just trying to floss? Or
Yeah.
it just opens up a whole nother list of questions
Mm-hmm.
for me, because I'm like, that just doesn't seem like wisdom, because you can't buy somebody a pair of, you know, $750,000 Mary jeans without
Mm-hmm.
a Mary t-shirt to go with it. That's then you got to make sure you got to have all your drip.
See, and that's problematic, right? I think the other thing that we have done that has been good is we actually say, this was what I want for Christmas. Like, this is what it would be nice to have for my birthday. Like, we actually say those things because and I think if you also understand your partner in a deep way, if you're actually paying attention and listening, then you can be a good gift giver. But I think that, we have in recent years, when our kids became teenagers, started sharing lists amongst ourselves so that we don't disappoint. Like, what's the point in giving a gift if they're just going to be disappointed, especially for those who are closest to you? It's easy to give gift cards, things like that. But what's the point? We not going back there. He about to start laughing. We not going back.
I
Okay.
don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, good.
It's just making me think about another example. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was talking about, I think this might be the last years of these Christmas lists
Mm-hmm.
with his grown adult children.
Oh yeah, because they get expensive.
Right, because this is what's funny. He said his son asked him to buy him like a $1,200 watch.
Wow.
He was like, wait a minute, you almost 30 years old.
No.
You asking me to buy you, just because I can don't mean I should.
Exactly.
And if you want a $1,200 watch, son, then you need to figure out how to go about getting that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I go back to the whole Malcolm Gladwell, David and Goliath, and the inverse U curve. I don't know how many people agree with it, but there's a point where he says you make too much money.
Yeah.
Because clearly his son knows his father can afford to buy him a $1,200 watch.
We have gotten into entitlement.
Right.
Exactly.
And so his father, I'm so glad he pushed back on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just because I can doesn't mean I should.
Exactly.
And, sometimes special occasion, you graduate from college, maybe in those instances, but I was glad to see he pushed back on it, because you want to create good habits for the next generations. And
I have to be honest, I thought it was hilarious on our daughter's list that she had at the very bottom. She was like, and you could pay a few bills too if you want to.
I laughed at that.
I thought that was hilarious because sis is paying her bills and she like, you know what? The best gift is to not have to pay a bill. Oh, that tickled me so much.
It actually made me feel good. I was like, yeah, she's starting to understand that growing up when you didn't have bills and life is lifing now, and she's got to pay those bills every month. She's like, hold on, I don't know if I like this. Hey, mom and dad, maybe for Christmas, can you help me out? But you told me this the other day, how she realized how her friends like got car notes and
student loan debt,
loans, and she was like, I think that the reality kicked in. She was like, thanks, mom and dad.
Yeah.
Because she didn't understand how they were doing it.
Right. And she knows, like, it's not easy. It's not easy. And I think you have to pick and choose about what's really important. And especially during this time. I think it's, I think this is a really good segue into Make It Worth It, unless I'm being premature. But I feel like, there is a way to make traditions and enjoy the splendor and the wonder of this time, and to, really tap into the reason for the season, if you will, without breaking the bank, and also doing things that are special for the people that you care about, and know that regardless, you are in it together, and this is, a special time. And I think we tend to allow the consumerism to get us over into a ditch sometimes. And I think it's important that we, sort of take a step back and say, what's really important? What's going to put a
Right.
smile on someone's face without being something that's going to set me back? And I think I would be remiss if I didn't go back and say that, the best way to plan for the holidays is in January, and just to set aside um the time that you have, ahead of time, like the funds for Christmas, start saving that in January so that it's not at the very end, like I'm not going to eat, for 2 weeks so I can save money, right? Plan in January, because we know when this season comes, every year it's the same time. So start at the beginning of the year and give yourself time, setting aside a little bit every single month. You will be ahead of the game.
What was this girl eating if she had to go from whatever she was doing to ramen to buy these
Listen,
jeans? I was like, you eating out all the time or
something I don't know,
something?
but
That
yeah,
whole story, there's more to
it's
that.
it's they just trying to draw attention, and
Right.
clearly they got some attention,
Right.
So, but I think it's important that we just make sure that we are in alignment with our value system and that kind of thing. And I remember, do you remember like years ago when you had to check in with me about a gift you were trying to get?
Yeah, well, I knew I wanted to give you this gift, and because I know who I'm married to, Looky Lou Central.
I'm a money girl,
I,
okay?
I know, I know. So I had to preface it so you weren't like, well, hold on, because you be giving me like the Spanish Inquisition, like, well, what is this? What'd you spend? What? So I had to preface it with like, look, I'm about to make a purchase, so I need you to just back off the account for a little bit.
Well, you also, I think one of the biggest things that you said about that, you called me. I remember I was out and about, and you said, "Hey, I want to make this purchase." And it actually wasn't for Christmas. I think it was for our anniversary. And you said, "I want to make this purchase, and it's a gift for you, and this is how much it would be. Are you okay?" Like, and because I don't enjoy spending large sums of money, that
Right.
that gives me anxiety. And so um you that was sort of that courtesy. Like, I just want to make sure you going to be good with that. And it was a while ago, but I felt respectful, and I also think it was part of
You felt respected.
I yes. Yeah, and you thought of me even before I got the gift. And that was awesome. And I think if we can do more of that, that would be great.
So to all my fellas that's out there listening, just take notes because that's how you move when you know who you're married to, and it can alleviate backside, difficulties. Because if I had just made that purchase and not talked to you, it could have operated in reverse. You could have been like,
Mhm.
well, I don't take pleasure in spending money like this. I don't really
Mhm.
need this.
Right.
And it could have been like, well, I'm trying to do something for you. How
Yeah.
you gonna be upset with me?
Mhm.
And that can create conflict. And just by communicating on the front side, you felt what you felt. And I
Yeah.
think that's a great way for couples to just operate and have communication because one, that's only putting tokens in the love bank because like you said, you felt respected, you felt loved, you felt all the things that I was trying to, and you hadn't even received the gift.
And then when I got the gift, I was still surprised, right? I was
Absolutely.
still surprised, and I already knew I was going to be all right because I knew that the dollar amount I was okay with because you prepped me
Yep.
for it.
Yep.
So I think talking about the money doesn't have to take away from the actual surprise. I think level setting with your partner on the how is important to do before you even need to actually get into that conversation. So I think the biggest thing is just to make sure that there aren't any big huge secrets. We're not, operating behind the scenes, but you're on the same
Yeah, you're
page.
you're above board. Everything is out in the open. You don't know all the details around the gift, but I think that being open and forward thinking, it just helps the relationship to be, better because the way you communicate, there's no surprises. And so let's get into this make it worth it. So, as we talk about make it worth it, I really think well, you already kind of led into my make it worth it. Talk about it.
Mhm.
Because if you talk about it and you know what it's going to look like, you don't have to know what the gift is, but I think that is just a good habit to develop. Because if you talk about it, you have money conversations and they don't have to be exhaustive. And if you are on the same page and you align to what you're willing to do and how much you're willing to spend, I think you can avoid a litany of problems, a world of hurt that can come if you don't have those conversations and you don't set those limitations. Because what's a priority for one person may not be a priority for the other. And so if you can get those joint priorities and then you move that way, the gift giving will be rewarding on both sides, because the giver will feel like they were able to do what they wanted, and the recipient will feel as though they were loved, they were cared for, not only because they got the gift, but because you had effective conversation and communication on the front side. So what would you say when you talk about make it worth it?
I would say, one, it's fun to give gifts and we want to keep it there, you know? And so, simply put, just keep a spending limit. Just talk about a spending limit. That's it. And you will still be able to make this time enjoyable and give good gifts as you're thinking of your partner. So keep the fun in it and just know that setting a limit will not take the fun out. I think that's important for people to hear.
Look, the holiday is upon us. It is not here yet, but from our family to yours and from For Better and Worth, we wish you guys a happy holiday season and, good gift giving that doesn't cause stress.
There you go. I love it. So until next time,
we're out. Thank you for spending some of your time with us today.
We appreciate all of your support. So be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen to this podcast.
You can find us on Instagram at For Better and Worth.
And sign up to receive our free guide, The 7 Reasons Your Money Relationship Isn't Working with Your Partner, on forbetterandworth.com.
Until next time, we're out of here.